Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am bringing you two recipes, one breakfast recipe and one dinner recipe, and you guys, they are so good. So first off, we are doing some breakfast burritos. I have been making these for the last, 10 years. I learned how to make them when I worked at a coffee shop and we sold them there when I was in college, and I've been making them ever since. They're super simple, super easy to throw together, and you can even put them in the freezer, which I will talk about later. So you can make a big batch. But for this batch, I am using 3 russet potatoes. I know I just showed you 4 of them, but I only ended up using 3. And then some tortillas. Usually I get the burrito size, but grocery pickup substituted these and they were a little small. You're also going to need some maple sausage, some shredded cheddar cheese, some bacon of your choice, and then I'm using 10 farm fresh eggs for this recipe, but you kind of just have to gauge it on however many burritos you want to make. This one makes 10, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I am doing is filling up my pot with hot water. We have an instant hot water thing, so that is super convenient. Whenever I want to boil water, I use that, so it just boils faster because it's already super hot. So I'm going to get my water on the stove and get that boiling. I'm going to wash my potatoes and then I'm going to cut them up into really small pieces because they just cook faster when they're cut up small. So like I said, I had gotten out 4 potatoes to use for this batch of burritos, but I only ended up cutting up 3 of them. I kind of just eyeball it and guess how much I'm gonna need, and that looked like enough for me, so I only ended up with 3. So I'm gonna get those in the boiling water, and that usually takes about, 10 minutes to boil those. And in the meantime, I am going to chop up the bacon. So I am using, I think it was 6 slices of this thick cut bacon. And then any of the pieces that have like a ton of fat on them, I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off and toss it. Otherwise it just gets super greasy and squishy, and I don't like that. I know some people like that, but we don't. So I'm gonna get the bacon into a pan on the stove as well. So the bacon is cooking, the potatoes are boiling, and now I'm gonna get the maple sausage started.
Nothing new, but it's so good to see you.
Once the potatoes are cooked and ready to go, we're going to drain the water off of those and just put them back in the pot and set them aside. Once the sausage and the bacon is done, I'm going to drain off any excess grease from both of those and then combine them into one pan and just leave it on low so they stay warm. And then I'm going to crack all 10 of the eggs into a bowl, whisk those up, and then I'm going to scramble the eggs. And here I'm just adding a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. If you want to add salt or pepper, this would be a good time to do it, and stir it in so it's in the eggs when you scramble them.
Still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends. Let's be more than friends. Yeah. I'm here to stay every single day. Yeah.
So now we are almost done with all of the ingredients that are going inside our breakfast burrito. So now I'm just going to shred up some cheddar cheese. I honestly don't know the exact amount. I just shredded a whole bunch of it. I didn't end up using all of it. But if you're gonna buy pre-packaged, or pre-shredded rather, cheddar cheese, then I would say just like a pack that has like 2 cups in it, that should probably be plenty. And now we are going to combine everything together in a big bowl. So I'm putting my eggs in there, I'm putting my sausage and my bacon in there, and then we're going to put the potatoes in and we're going to stir everything up really good. it's time to make a little assembly line. I'm going to get my tortillas out, and like I was telling you guys, typically I get the burrito size ones. You can fit a whole lot more in there, and they're just more like hearty and filling. But I was just using what I had, so I had these normal like taco size tortillas, and I made do with what I have. So you're just gonna spoon in some filling, put some cheese on top, and then try to roll it up as tight as you can.
Can't believe you love me, I just feel so lucky.
But if you guys want to do these as like a meal prep, just like something to have on hand in your freezer so you can not have to worry about making breakfast on the weekend or even the weekday, honestly, like these would be great for the kids to pull out or your husband or wife. They're just really easy if you have them in the freezer like ready to go. So whenever I do that, I will just wrap them individually in tin foil and then put them into a freezer bag, like a freezer Ziploc bag, like however many you want in one bag, to divide them out. You guys can organize how you want to organize, obviously, but then I will just pull them out and let them thaw, and then you just put them in the microwave when they're cold. You can just put them in the microwave for 2 minutes and then stick them in the skillet or even like a George Foreman grill, like a panini grill, something like that, just to get the tortilla crispy after they're warm. Oh, so good. I like to store them in the fridge too for a couple of days because we go through them pretty quickly. So if I'm doing a huge batch, I'll put them in the freezer, but if not, I'll just put them in the fridge, pull one out, microwave it for 2 minutes, and then crispy up the tortilla. So that is what I'm gonna do now, and I have a ton of leftovers here that I was showing you because typically I have burrito tortillas. I had extras, so you'll see in a little bit Donnie was stealing some of the filling while I was finishing up cooking the burritos. I just have this skillet, and I'm going to put a couple of burritos in there and just kind of get them golden brown. I don't know what it is about it, but just getting them crispy on the outside makes them so much better.
It's just what I do when I'm out, so try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at those beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car, nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me.
So once they are looking like this, a little golden brown and crispy on the outside, you can serve them with whatever you like. I personally don't put anything on mine, but Donnie likes salsa and sour cream with his breakfast burritos, so I'm just plating that up for him. But that is what they look like.
I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks. I'm gonna make mistakes.
So like I was telling you guys, I either do a big batch of these and put them in the freezer, or if I just make one small batch like this, I will put them in the refrigerator and then we will eat them within a couple of days, honestly. So I'm just gonna put these in some Tupperware, put them in the fridge, and then we are gonna move on to our dinner recipe. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Now let's make some Marry Me chicken. All right, you guys, it is time for a yummy dinner recipe now. We're gonna be making Marry Me chicken with mashed red potatoes and some veggies. For this recipe, you're gonna need 1 tablespoon of fresh or dried thyme leaves, 3/4 cup chicken broth. I'm using chicken bone broth, 2 cloves of minced garlic, freshly ground black pepper, and salt. I'm using this Himalayan pink salt, 1 small jar of sun-dried tomatoes, olive oil, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, and 6 chicken thighs. You can do bone in, skin on, skinless, boneless, whatever you would like. The first thing that you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 375 degrees. So the clips that I took when I was getting started with the chicken, I don't know what happened to them, they disappeared. So this is what you're seeing. First off, I put my olive oil in the pan just a little bit. I seasoned the chicken thighs with salt and pepper, and then you're just gonna sear the chicken on both sides for about 4 minutes on each side. So you don't need to worry about the chicken being cooked all the way through in the pan right now because it is going to go into the oven. So I wanted to mention to be sure to use an oven-safe skillet, or you can transfer the sauce and the chicken to a baking pan. If you don't have one, that totally works too. So like I said, you're just going to sear both sides of the chicken, and then you're going to transfer the chicken to a plate while you work on the sauce. And then the chicken will continue cooking while it's in the oven.
If we don't feel the same way, then don't pretend that everything's okay.
Once you take the chicken out, you're going to return the skillet to medium heat, and you're going to add in your garlic and thyme. Cook that for about a minute till it starts smelling really good, and then that's when you're going to add in your chicken broth and your heavy cream.
Well, maybe I'm not enough for you, so maybe I should go. If I had known from the start, this wouldn't have ended with broken hearts. 'Cause I don't wanna waste my time, no. I don't wanna waste my time, no. Maybe you don't wanna know. You don't say what.
Once you add in the cream and the broth, you're going to add in your sun-dried tomatoes and also the Parmesan cheese.
So maybe I should go. If I had known from the start, this wouldn't have ended with broken hearts. 'Cause I don't wanna waste my time, no.
Let that come to a simmer, and then you're going to add the chicken back into the pan. I like to just make sure the chicken is down in the juice really good and none of the sun-dried tomatoes are on top of the chicken, because I did that the first time and it burned the sun-dried tomatoes. So just make sure the tomatoes stay in the sauce and the chicken is down in the sauce really good.
No telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights. Won't stop for traffic lights.
And now we're going to transfer the skillet to the oven and set a timer for 20 minutes.
If I will ever figure out where the road goes.
Now in the meantime, we're going to make my favorite mashed red potatoes. I am just going to take a 1-pound bag of red potatoes and mash these up. I didn't include these ingredients in the beginning of this video because I figure if you make Marry Me chicken, you can serve it with whatever you want to. So tonight we're doing mashed potatoes and just some freezer veggies that I had on hand. So I'm going to cut all of these potatoes up into like fourths. Depending on the size, they might be a little bit more than that, but they're just the small red potatoes. Cutting those up into bite-sized pieces, boiling some water, and I'm adding some of that chicken bone broth to the water before I boil the potatoes. So I'm going to boil those until they are soft and like you can stick a fork in them and they're ready to be mashed up.
From the ground.
When the chicken is done, you can go ahead and pull that out, and I just like to set it on my top of my stove and put the lid on it and just let it rest and kind of soak in the juices before we eat it.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
The potatoes are almost done, so I'm just going to throw some frozen veggies into a pan with some olive oil. I'm just doing some carrots and broccoli, and I'm going to season it with some pepper and some garlic salt. Put a lid on there and just let it kind of steam and cook, and then I'll take the lid off and let them cook for a few minutes without the lid on, and they just cook up really nicely, and it's super quick and easy and nothing fancy, but they taste good and everyone eats them, so that's a win.
Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down.
Okay, so I've drained the water off of the red potatoes. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter, and then the rest I honestly don't measure. I just kind of eyeball it. So I'm going to squirt a good amount of sour cream in there, a splash of whole milk, and then a couple handfuls of Parmesan cheese, and then I'm just gonna mash that all up. Sometimes I'll even add some minced garlic in there, and oh, it is so good. Also some ground pepper. So just take a potato masher and mash those all up. It's really fun to play around with mashed potatoes and like different flavors and seasonings to add in them, but this is one of my favorites. I usually make a big batch of this for like Christmas and Thanksgiving too. It's really good.
You said this is something you would never do. Here we are in your car. Let me see who you are, who you really are. Yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry, 'cause if you're gonna leave me, then just do.
All right, now it is time to dish up everyone's plates. I already did the kids, so they like to have their mashed potatoes separate from the chicken, and I just like cut up the chicken for them. You can see their little kid plates over there with all of their different stuff, but for mine and Donnie's plates, we like to do the mashed potatoes like kind of flat on the plate, put the chicken on top, and then scoop up the gravy sauce and the tomatoes and put that on top of the chicken, and it kind of runs over onto the potatoes and the veggies, and oh my gosh, it is so good.
Let's be honest for a second. Yeah, you're being over your head, babe. 'Cause there is no one other than me that can make you feel the way you feel when I hold you. I think I said enough. You said your love for me something brand new. You said this is something.
But that is going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed these 2 recipes, and definitely let me know over on Instagram if you make either one of these. I cannot wait to hear what you think about them. They're both so good. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video.
'Cause if you're gonna